Hey there, Danielle Matthews here. I'm coming to you live from Florida, and today is Monday, so it's book club day. We are in the midst of reading The Game of Life and How to Play It. Now, if you're new to my content, I help people, I guide them through their healing journey. I help people to heal physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, and one of the biggest things that I have seen is, feeding the mind, helping your mind to understand the bigger picture, the bigger perspective. And hey guys, let me know when you've joined. I think I got my internet figured out this week. I am praying that it just figured out. We've had some issues with it for the last week, actually, since book club last week. So anyway, I believe that a lot of the wisdom that we can get from books can really help, and your conscious level of awareness shifts. So when you read a book for the first time, one or two things might sink in, or you might see something and go, oh, you read it the next time, you've changed. So now something speaks to you that just never did the other time. Good morning, Karen. Good morning, Tina. Good to have you here. If you're joining me live, let me know when you've gotten here. If you're catching the replay, of course, let me know that you're catching the replay. And we are on, she doesn't actually, this is chapter 3, I think, technically, but there's no numbers. So it is the power of the word. Okay, the power of the word. And she really kind of lays out here that we're making laws for ourselves all the time. And we create things that become they seem like they're real, and she talks about this man who continually would say, and this, I laughed at this example because nowadays people don't run after taxis, right? They call an Uber. I don't know if anyone else got humor out of this, but the example she's using is this guy who always said, oh, I always miss the car. I always miss the car. Every time I come out of the airport, the hotel, whatever, the taxi, someone's just getting in it and going away. And his daughter says, I always catch the car. Every time I walk outside, they're just pulling up. It's the exact right timing and I get in. And how this is continually true for both of them. And so what she was pointing out is that, look, they created this law for themselves because he continually was saying, I always miss the car, I always miss the car, I always miss the car. And she continually says, I always catch the car, I always catch the car, I always catch the car. They're drawing that in. Just this weekend in the mastery community, I was talking, I think it was in response to you, Tina, right? We were talking about those silver threads and how what you repeat, I visualize it as we have these threads that we're pulling with our thoughts, things towards us. So the guy was constantly saying through his spoken word, I always miss the car, I always miss the car. And so what did he keep drawing into himself? Missing the car, missing the car, missing the car. And then his daughter, I always catch it, I always catch it, I always catch it. So what was she drawing in? Boom, that. So I want you to look at your life right now. What laws have you made for yourself? You personally. What are you constantly saying that you are recreating? I catch myself, I caught myself for many years in my business with statements I would make about how, I wasn't able to find this or find that, or nobody was doing this or nobody was doing that. And so then I just would continually draw in the same situation until I finally just one day went, oh, I'm doing this. I'm recreating the same scenarios again and again and again. Any of you, in reading this, this is a deep one to think about because we're so accustomed to it. Just like this guy is so accustomed to, I always miss the car. That's just how life is. That sometimes we don't see our own stuff. We don't actually see that there is another option, that there is another way that we could be that would draw in something totally different. So if something comes to you, put it in the chat. So far, seems quiet out there. But if it comes, let me know. And she talks about how this power is also the psychology that is behind superstition. And I thought this was really interesting. So does anyone have I remember when I was growing up, I had a rabbit's foot, which now I think about is kind of weird. To have a rabbit's foot. I don't think it was real, but now I don't actually know. But yeah, I had a rabbit's foot on my keychain. And she mentions this here, which must have been just that must be from forever ago. And a horseshoe, right? Touch the horseshoe. Or I know a lot of times athletes, they have these superstitions where, oh, everyone has to kiss the trophy right before they go out on the field, or they have to do this thing, or have to say these words, or whatever it is. So it's so interesting. And she says, look, the horseshoe or the rabbit's foot contains no power but man's spoken word and the belief that it will bring him good luck, which creates expectancy in the subconscious mind and attracts in the lucky situation. So, because you speak it and believed it, right? This guy really believed he was always going to miss the car. Those teams really believe that when they kiss that statue, like, good fortune is on them, you know? And it's the belief behind it that is actually the thing. And I thought this was pretty fascinating. She says, when man has advanced spiritually and knows a higher law, they will find that this will no longer work. Because, and this is a key point, when you advance your realization, you realize it's not the object. It's not the rabbit's foot. It's not the horseshoe. It's not the statue that I've been kissing. None of those things are actually the thing that is making the change. The change is my belief in something. I believe like the object is playing the role for you at the moment, right? And you're believing in the object. But once you become spiritually aware, which I would say everybody watching this is, right? We've been on this path together for a while. You start to realize it's not the object at all. It's the fact that you've been pulling that thread. It's the fact that you're believing in something greater than you, and you've tapped into this law of the universe, which you realize you're co-creating, right? You're in co-creation. And so whatever you decide to pull on will come to you. And so you need to think about, what am I pulling on? What do I want to co-create? All right. And you start to realize that some object of luck and superstition is just a bunch of baloney. And it's really just your belief that's drawing it in. All right. The object helps you to expect it, basically. It creates the expectancy. Like everyone kissing the statue, they're like, oh, we got this, we got this, we got this, right? And so there's this expectant energy, a very high vibrational energy on that whole team as they go and take the field. Is this making sense? Okay. Tina says, totally hit the mark on business. Yeah, it's really interesting. That's why I love entrepreneurship. I really love network marketing in particular, because it's constantly creating situations and circumstances. It's like a spiritual boot camp. Okay? It really is. And so you're like in boot camp where you're constantly like, okay, well, what are the results that I'm getting here? Oh, okay. Well, turns out that's because of my thoughts, the way that I'm speaking things, that I'm bringing this in. And it requires a lot of deep self-reflection, which I think is also why a lot of people quit a business like network marketing, because you realize like you're the creator of your reality and you're no longer a victim, which is the most empowering thing. But unfortunately, many people prefer being the victim, prefer the blame going elsewhere, thinking someone else will save me. This is because of something else. They don't take the ownership. And in that kind of business, you have to. And in spirituality, you have to. You realize the power is all within. And you just have to keep going deeper and deeper and deeper and inside and inside and inside and inside. All right. Lou says, I'm ready to be empowered. Yeah, you are. That's why you're here. Keep diving in, Lou. Keep diving in. All right, let's jump to, where are we? Page 25. She says, I know in my own case, it took a long time to get out of a belief that a certain thing brought disappointment. Okay? If the thing happened, disappointment invariably followed. And I found the only way I could make a change. Is anyone else disappointed by when things happen? Like, oh, this happened and you're disappointed. Like, just yesterday. Like, we were driving somewhere. I had asked my boyfriend to put in the address into, like, where we were going. And he'd accidentally put in the wrong address. And I found myself very disappointed and frustrated when we arrived at the wrong place. Because the dog was anxious. He was like panting, ready to be out of the car. I found myself very disappointed. And I had a reaction. And it took me a minute. And then I went, what are you doing, Danielle? Like, relax, right? But we have these expectations. We get disappointed by things. We believe the situation did it. I'm like, well, if you just put in the right address, I wouldn't be upset right now. Hello. No. I need to just roll with it. And turned out the address that was put in was like right next to where we needed to be anyway. So it was fine. But, I had this reaction in the moment. Anyway, I sidetracked myself. But the point here she says, everything is unfolding in the exact right timing. It was a test, Lou, and I failed that test. But I brought myself back, right? And I can laugh about it, because we're constantly, we were talking, oh my God, we're just going to go on the tangent. So yesterday, there was also a program that was finishing here at the Amrit Yoga Institute. And I was part of just when they were closing up class. And someone was asking Gurudev. So Gurudev's been on a spiritual journey for, he's 92. Decades. Okay, just decades, since he was 17. And the woman said, I've been studying with you for, I think she's been studying something like 40-something years, or so, very long time. She's known him for a long time, studied with him a long time. And she was asking this question. She said, when am I ever going to be free? Like, when am I going to be free? When am I going to arrive at just in, like, that my mind isn't going to take over, that I'm not going to be, like, responding and reacting in these ways? And he looked at her and he said, never. Like, I still haven't arrived. It's constant because we're in this physical body that has an ego mind. It's just there. And our job is to continue to release from it and witness, and to every time that it has a reaction, realize, man, anger is poison to my body. Man, jealousy, there's no need for it. Man, me being upset, why? Like, just everything is happening in exact right timing, and we don't always see the bigger picture. And he said, I'm just, I've released more and more and more because I've been at this longer, than many of you. And so you might think that I'm in this neutral space. He said, but no, like, the mind can still come in. It always does. It always does. Divine timing is always good, but tough to get to that. Yeah, because we, in our minds, expect things to be a certain way. And expectations are the seeds of frustrations. Drop your expectation. You can have a desire of the direction you want to go, but you cannot mirror. That outcome is not yours to dictate. You don't know when it's going to happen. So this is like what Mickey Singer talked about, just non-resistance, right? We've talked about this a lot. Just don't resist what's happening in front of you. You need to just flow with it, and then respond to it, and you'll start to reprogram things. And you got to accept the whole. She says, if you're afraid, you're giving in to a belief in two powers, good and evil, instead of one. As God is absolute, there can be no opposing power unless man makes the false of evil for himself. This is an interesting one. I don't know if this sunk in for you all. Like, I read that. I've read this book many times, and it never hit me until I heard this same lesson taught in a little bit of a different way. And that is with this, which is what they're saying is, if you believe that this situation is bad, then you're splitting from unity into duality, right? So when we're here, there's unity. There's just a oneness, right? We trust that there is a flow of good and bad, of dark and light, of whatever, right? There's a flow. There's opposites in this world, yes. But what she's saying here is the moment that you believe that one is good and one is evil, you split apart. You're now in duality, okay, which is very different than polarity, because you're choosing. You're saying this is better than this. And now you're broken apart. Now you're not connected to the divine. Am I making sense? So here we're connected in. We're one. Even though we're flowing between these different states, if you're just all accepting, you're not in resistance, you realize, wow, one needs the other and one flows into the other. And we're not going to enjoy happiness as much unless we know sadness. We're not going to enjoy freedom unless we know what it's like to be controlled. Like, there's a time and place for it all for us to learn and to be able to more deeply appreciate. And so this quote is saying, God is absolute, and there can be no opposing power unless man makes the false choice of evil. What this is saying is, when you make the false choice and you go into duality, life is going to be miserable. Okay? So don't do it. Stay understanding that there's polarity in this world, and just stay connected to it all and accept it all. And that's really it. I don't know. For me, that's a better explanation than the way she explained it, but she's saying the same exact thing. And it's the same thing that in Christianity, right? When they say, don't eat from the tree of good and evil, like in the garden, right? It's like, that's what we're talking about. Don't eat from that tree. Do not get into that business. If you get into that, you get into duality, and now you are not connected. You've lost unity. You've lost that. 5 in the chat if I'm making sense. Sometimes I wish I could see y'all's faces. But yeah, that's what that was about. So don't resist. Don't resist. Accept the flow of all of it because it's coming in, it'll go out, all of these things. Okay. Let's see. Face the situation fearlessly, and there is no situation to face, blah, blah, blah. No, I wanted to say, okay. Okay, good. We got some fives. I got a high five over here from Tina. Okay. So, where did I want to go from here? The silver threads again. Like, page 26, she actually says pulling the strings. Thus, the invisible forces are working for man who is always pulling the strings. Remember what I said? We, with our thoughts, repeatedly, right? We pull. So, who is always pulling the strings himself, though he does not know it. Most people are ignorant to the fact that they're pulling the same string, okay? But you're now no longer ignorant, so you need to realize that you're co-creating here. And anyway, he does not know he's doing it. Owing to the vibratory power of words, whatever man voices, he begins to attract. People who continually speak of disease will invariably attract disease. All right, so look at the results in your life right now. Think about it like this. The results that you're having right now are the fruit of how you've been in the past, what your thoughts were, right? Because whatever you pulled in, you've now created. So you have this beautiful tree that you are right now, and you're having certain thoughts right now, so you're pulling certain things in. Well, that's what the fruit on the tree is going to be made. That fruit then drops, the seed goes into the ground, and a new tree comes out. So your future is being created right now. So you need to think about, well, what am I pulling in, right? You can visualize those threads, or think about the tree. That tree is creating fruit right now. You are creating fruit right now with your thoughts. And that is going to drop, and it's going to build the next tree, your future. So be mindful, right? Mind your thoughts, mind your thinking. And what you sow, you shall reap, right? This was the law that we talked about before. The law of sowing and reaping is very, very clear. And what she says is that there should be 3 purposes for your words. This is very important. To heal, to bless, or to prosper. Use your words to heal, to bless, to prosper. Because what you say to others, you say to yourself. What you wish upon others, you're wishing upon yourself. So what you're sowing, you're reaping. Healing, blessing, prospering. That's it. The game of life and how to play it, right? I hope you're taking notes on the rules of this life. This is one of the rules. Use your words to heal, bless, and prosper. How do you win at the game of life? If you're speaking healing, if you're speaking prosperity, if you are speaking blessings onto others and thus yourself and thus all of life. Yeah, I love it too. When the subconscious is flooded with perfect ideas of the superconscious, God and man are one. You have abundance, there is no fear, because everything else is gone. It's coming from the ego. So the next rule in this game of life is the law of love. In the game of life, love or goodwill takes every trick, she says. I love how she words that. It takes every trick. So if you want to learn, I play spades. It's a card game, and you win by it's called taking the trick. So when you win that hand, when everybody plays, like, oh, we took the trick. How many tricks did you get? The more you're going for to win. So you want to take the trick. You want to win at the game of life. Love or goodwill takes every trick. And she goes on to share this example of this actress that had a really bad skin disease. You guys remember this? So this actress had a terrible skin disease, and she went out for opening night to try and get this role, and she does a great job, like incredible job. And some man in the cast was jealous of her success and caused her to be sent away. And so she said she felt hatred and resentment taking complete possession of her. Can you imagine? You're an actress, you're trying to get a job, you get it, you do a great job, and now because of somebody else's jealousy, you've now lost the position. Okay. She says hatred and resentment started to take over. Many of us can probably relate, right? And then she cried out, "Oh God, don't let me hate that man." And that night, she worked for hours in the silence because she realized love takes every trick. If I hate him, I am hating myself. If I resent him, I'm resenting myself. This is so clear, but also nuanced, right? Because we feel justified many would say, well, of course she should be angry. Of course she should resent him. Of course she should curse that man. No, she shouldn't. She should send him love. That's what you need to do. She said, I soon came into a very deep silence, and I seemed to be at peace with myself, with the man, and with the whole world. I continued this for the 2 following nights, and in the 3rd day I was healed from my skin disease. This stuff's so real, guys. It's so real. It just doesn't make sense to your mind. The ego doesn't understand it because it's beyond it. We're talking about something that is beyond its grasp. Okay? But it's right here. She fulfilled the law of love. She sent love. She passed the test, right? Yesterday, I failed my test. I did not send love. I reacted, right? This woman caught herself immediately and went, no, I'm going into love, and I'm dropping into a deep, deep space until it's very real that that's what she was feeling. Powerful, powerful, powerful. And I loved this. She said, every disease, so we were talking a lot about the skin issue in this situation, every disease is caused by a mind not at ease. And she says, there's no use in asking someone, what's the matter with you? The real question you should be asking is, who's the matter with you? Who is the matter with you? Because unforgiveness is the most prolific cause of disease. So, in your life, right now, who is it that you're frustrated with? Everybody has somebody. Might be a many somebodies, right? Who is it? You need to send that person love. You need to understand that soul is on its journey. It's living to the best of their abilities with their understandings at the moment. There is nothing for you or against you that they're doing. You're taking it personally. And you need to just send love. It can feel really hard. I know. Really, really hard. So, any inharmony on the external indicates there is mental inharmony, because as within, so without. And so if there are situations externally that are non-harmonious, it's because there's internal things going on. So you got to look inward, right? The answer is always inward. It's not in learning something out here or someone out there fixing it. It's always, I need to get clear in myself. I need to learn how to send love. I need to learn how to love myself, to give love to others, all of that. All right. Man's only enemies are within himself. This is why I do inner management mastery. Why? Because if you learn to go inward, to learn how to go beyond the mind, to connect in with that true self, to quiet everything else out, massive healing can take place. And you start to understand yourself on such a deep level. And that level of understanding, self-awareness, creates confidence. It creates peace. It creates everything. I just yesterday wrapped up with another cohort of students, and it's just amazing to watch the growth. Like, life is throwing some stuff at these people right now, and they're like, I'm learning to breathe and just be with it. Your words are echoing in my head, to just watch, to witness, to allow the stuff to move through, not resist. It's powerful. So, the last bit of this chapter, again, this concept of send goodwill to all, send love out, takes every trick. You love spades too. I love that. I just saw that comment. It's such a good card game. But yeah, how do you want to take the trick? So this guy was a salesman, okay? And he says, here's the situation. I have a rival that has appeared, and their machine appears to be better than my machine. And so this is a problem, right? Because it's my livelihood. And so she treats him and she says, first of all, we must wipe out all fear and know that God protects your interests, and the divine idea must come out of this situation. What a level of faith, right? Because a logical mind would say, no, this isn't good for me. This person has shown up on the same scene, selling the same product, except his product is better than mine. Like, we've got a problem. And she's saying, release the fear. Let go of the fear. Wipe it out. Know that everything is happening exactly as it's meant to, and that your interests are protected. And she says, don't hold one critical thought towards this man. Bless him all day and be willing not to sell your machine if that's the divine idea. So basically, let go of the end result. Let go of what you're wanting. Do the best you can through the laws of the game. Send love, send blessings, send prosperity, send healing, right? Those things. Send that. And just trust what's going to happen. And so they did this, and well, guess what? The man's machine refused to work, and the other guy got the sale because even though the machine was better, it didn't work. So his sale went through, and he got it. Because he was able to just have faith, send love, not resist. That's the power of non-resistance. And in fact, that's the next chapter, the law of non-resistance. It's amazing. So trust that it's all going to work out, right? Have faith in your actions. Have faith in your spoken word. Trust that it's going to work out. You're either trusting or you're having fear. Like fear and faith, right? Two sides of the same coin. They both require you to believe in nothing, something that you can't see. So choose faith over fear. She wraps this up by saying, goodwill produces a great aura of protection about the one who sends it, and no weapon that is formed against him shall prosper. In other words, love and goodwill will destroy the enemies within oneself. Therefore, one has no enemies on the external, because as within, so without. All right? So powerful. This book is so fun. It's short, it's punchy, it's to the point. I feel like it's a good, nice read for the summer. Are you guys enjoying it? One of you told me that you're already well past us. So we're reading up through page 43. The law of non-resistance. It starts on page 33. So 33 to 43 is where we're going from here. And if you've got any questions, I think that I shared with you all in the Telegram chat. I screwed it up when I made that chat group. So you guys can't comment in it, but you can reply to my posts. So what I would say is just, you just click on whatever I post and you click comment, or you can click reply, and then we can see everything in the chat. So sorry, I didn't know what I was doing, and you can't apparently change it. So if anyone is a Telegram guru and can help me out, great. But yeah, you can't change it once the channel's made. So oops. Anyway, but we can still chat. You just have to reply to comments, so it can still be there. Lou says that's a win. I got my husband to read a couple chapters. Nice. Enjoying it. Thank you. Yeah. Lots of love to all of you. Have a wonderful week. And we'll be back on Monday of next week to dive into this bit about non-resistance, which is the key to it all. All right. So great way to start the week. Always love being with you all. See you.